with another video. So I'm sitting here procrastinating doing math homework and trying to figure it out with no help. So on that, math is literally my worst subject. Like, I'm absolute trash at math. So in general, math is not a good place for me. So yeah, anything to get out of it. So this video I had planned but didn't, kind of, I guess. And it's just gonna kind of be like how I got Aries, like story time, I guess. I don't really know like what to call it, but it's, yeah, my trip to like getting Aries as my service dog. So I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get into it. Okay, so yeah, I guess I'll start with like the process of retiring Belle. So I've gotten like into this, and it's kind of like, I've gotten into the topic of Belle was, I like didn't have my years right when I was like looking at stuff and paperwork and everything, and I had like her first shots I knew were missing, but I wasn't like, I guess like I didn't pay attention to like actual dates and everything. And was thinking she was 6 when she was actually 8, basically getting to the like end of the story, and knew that like at 6 I was going to start retiring, or like start the process of getting a new service dog, so that when she like started hitting 8, I didn't think that she was going to have to retire, because most service dogs retire between 8 and 10, but it was so that if she needed to, I'd have my fully trained service dog by that time. So I like, began the process of trying to find a puppy. When I started this, it was June of last year. I think it was June. Yeah, it was June of last year. So over a year ago, I started looking into it and knew I wanted a shepherd breed. I say a shepherd like broad spectrum. I had it like narrowed down to certain things. I wanted a German shepherd, a Dutch shepherd, Malinois, a husky, or, oh gosh, I can't remember the other breed. I know there was a 5th breed. I know it was another Belgian shepherd, but I honestly, like, I cannot for the life of me remember which one. Okay, so anyways, I think it was a Turban or Grondel. Was it a Grondel or a Turban? I don't remember. It was one of those two. Anyways, so basically, like, I knew that was what I wanted, and I knew like which trainer I wanted to go with. It was the same trainer that helped me with it. Like towards the end with Belle, our first trainer was not the best, and honestly, just decided it wasn't a good idea to stay with him. So it was the second one I worked with Belle. Trusted him, thought he was great, all this kind of stuff, and that it would be worth it. And I knew that he would start puppies and like start them bringing up like in service dog training, and he usually trains them for different things, and things that weren't like common for like program dogs. So it's really hard to find programs that are willing to work with a teenager with PTSD, or a teenager in general. On top of that, it's really hard to find ones that are willing to work with those breeds that I wanted, minus a German shepherd, but still the most common program dogs are labs, goldens, or poodles. And I knew I didn't want any of those breeds. Most of the time they're too mellow for me. I wanted a dog that was a bit more high energy, so that it gave me the motivation to get outside and do stuff, because that's what my doctors were saying was going to help me a bunch, and I was trusting them on this. So that's like, that's what I wanted. uh, so when I was talking to him, he said that he was gonna like look into a puppy and figure out like what would be a good option for me, what would be like the best dog for me, you know, all this kind of stuff. So I just kind of like left him with liberty for it. Um, so he ended up finding washed out. It was a litter of like of Malinois, and he basically like how it ended was he knew that the litter was being temperament tested for police dog work as well, or like military work, but that line of work, as well as service dog work or in sports. Those were the three. That's what the breeder wanted them to go into. Um, I didn't have any part in it. I didn't know that he was finding this breed and like this litter. I didn't know that he was finding the puppy. So like I knew he was finding a puppy or like trying to, but I didn't know like which breeds he was going, like which breed he was going for or breeds. I didn't know what was going on because I knew that if it didn't like work out for me, it would have just gone to another client. Um, and he was like the kind of trainer that just like didn't want to get like my hopes up in the end. Um, so while this was going on, I ended up starting to get like really impatient because I wasn't hearing anything. And I mean, that's pretty like easy for me to do because I'm the kind of person that's like, I need to like have not like have results now, but like know what's going on or like have a plan. And at this point, like I had a plan, but I didn't know what was going on with it. So I started like stressing out and looking for a puppy myself. Um, so that's where I say, here comes Copper. Um, so he was a German Shepherd Beagle mix. When I adopted him, I had no idea what he was mixed with. I just knew German Shepherd. And honestly, like his face shape and everything, and like markings and all that, he really resembled a shepherd. Um, Me being dumb, I ignored the fact that he had like the rounded floppy ears instead of pointy, like the pointy like stand up ears. But like with his age, his ears could have just like not stood up yet, so it was a lot of wishful thinking there. Looking at him, you can very easily tell he's not a purebred, and you can definitely tell he's one of the mixed breeds, but he was, I don't like saying this, but a well-bred mixed breed. Um, like there's, you know, doodles are mixed breeds. There's no purebred doodle, but there's well-bred doodles, you know. So yes, he's a mutt, but he was a well-bred mutt. Um, so he was, you know, if you don't know, German Shepherd Beagle mixes are considered like a fancy breed. They're something that people will spend like the same price as a purebred dog for, and I found him in the shelter. So, yeah, I adopted him at, I think he was 12 weeks old when I got him. No, he wasn't even 12 weeks. Yeah, he was somewhere between 8 and 12 weeks. I can't remember exactly how old he was. And, you know, he showed a lot of like potential and promise in the shelter, and I was overly excited about it. And adopted him right there instead of doing like adopting for the day or fostering for the day or like fostering for a little while so he was out of the stressful environment and into the good environment of like a house. So, you know, with that, during all of this, Aries was there, like around, and my breeder had an eye on his litter. With any, so with that, like this isn't a Copper story. This isn't like a Nala story. This is Aries. So Aries is one of the ones that came back as a good temperament for sport work and for possible military work, but he was more on the submissive side, and I don't like know all the details as far as like police work goes. I don't know but it was like, you know, he was adopted out still for them, even though the breeder was like, hey, I don't think he's going to be like the best candidate, but you know, he's going to be really submissive. And they were like, oh, well, he can do this, he can do that. And they were, and the breeder was like, okay, whatever. So with Aries, if you don't know, like, black males aren't a breed standard. Like, they're not something that's bred for. Reputable breeders, like, avoid them like the plague. Same with albinos, so that's the white males. And black and tan. So black and tan Malinois are usually, like, can be easily mistaken for shepherds, even though they're males, and they're not something that's bred for. It's not within the breed standard. The fawn with, like, the black mask is what you want. And I guess, like, what happened was, it's so hard to find a reputable Malinois breeder now, like, because it's a breed that's, like, up and coming and, like, something that a lot of people want, without knowing the responsibility. So there's a lot of backyard breeders popping up here and there, and they're getting really hard to spot, like, just stuff that they do. With this one, they promised, like, OFA testing, they promised temperament tests, they promised health testing on parents. They had the lines, like, they said they had lines back that you could see, and they did show, but, like, within those lines there weren't well-bred dogs. They didn't do health testing on every dog they bred, and they didn't actually do OFA testing. And, like, I had no say in this. My trainer, like, the trainer did, however, and he should have picked that up, but he didn't. And I mean, I'm not working with him anymore at all. Like, I've just, like, pulled myself away. I don't want anything to do with him because of a lot of other things that have, like, gone on. But that was, like, the like, the rock that started it, like, just started the downward hill. Anyways, so basically what happened is he was adopted out with the police force or military, or whatever the heck he was. I know he was, like, one of the two, but as I said, I'm not familiar with all of it. So he was adopted out there and began his training for it, and basically washed out. Like, just like a service dog can wash out, they can wash out there also. Like, they don't have the right temperament, they don't have, like, anything like that. And I know he did it for a while, but, like, it was literally, like, bite work, which, I mean, I will do with him, like, sport-wise, just by myself, and stuff like that. So it wasn't anything that was, like, gonna, like, destroy his service dog career, especially not for a puppy. Like, it's really easy to, like, reroute the brain. And I know he had quite a bit of work with, like, scent training, which was really good because that helps him a ton now, like, picking up, like, the scents that he needs for me. Anyways, so basically he washed out there and ended up getting adopted out into a family. I know it wasn't, like, a family that was, within the force. I know it was an outside family. And I don't know, like, what happened exactly, but I know the family didn't think they were getting a big dog. And when Aries started getting, like, bigger, and they, like, took him to the vet and found out that he was gonna be, like, around 70 pounds, if not, like, a little bit over, or, like, right under, they were like, I don't want anything to do with this, and ended up dumping him at a rescue. My trainer had found out that he had been adopted out, as well as, like, a couple other litter mates had been adopted out, and he managed to get, I know that he had one of his litter mates, I think it was, one, and I know that it was a washout for service work also, ended up getting adopted out, like, as a pet. And I know he was, like, keeping an eye on rescues and shelters in the area because of the fact that he was adopted out into a family, and families usually don't realize what they're getting themselves into with the breed. So once they, like, saw, once he found it, he, like, went in and got him and started all of his training and work with him and everything else, just to, like, you know, get everything rolling. And he did response training and like behavior interruptions and everything like that. All of his basic obedience, obviously, and things like that. We weren't sure about alerts, so he wasn't trained to do heart rate alerts because that's natural. I mean, you can train it with sense, but it's really, really hard, and it's not guaranteed that the dog is going to alert to the right thing at the right time. And that's still something that I say, but I can't guarantee. It's not something that I'd train like with a service dog, because there's no way of being positive if that's truly going to work in the end. So like with Aries, we were like hoping that he was going to be able to do a natural heart rate alert, which he does. And when he found out he had one, I just shaped it into him booping, like his nose booping on a certain part of my leg. If I ignore that, then he's supposed to paw at me. And if I still ignore that, then he's trained to jump up on me. I know in the training video I had posted beforehand that people saw him like jump up on me. Nobody like commented on it publicly, but I know I did get some messages on Instagram about it. That was an alert. My heart rate was extremely high, and that's what he's trained to do. Is if he ends up missing the beginning of the climb, or if it randomly jumps, he's supposed to automatically jump up on me so that I'm aware and will hopefully sit down unless I'm dumb. And in that occasion I was, and it did lead to a medical episode. But you know, like every dog is trained differently to alert, as long as like they're still under control. You know, there's dogs that are trained to bark to alert. Aries is, if I pass out, then he'll bark to try and get attention, or he'll run and try and find somebody to get help from them. He knows that if they're not within a certain area, like if he can't see me anymore, then he's supposed to come back, and he's really good about doing that. So yeah, basically with Aries, he's honestly probably not the dog I would have picked if I had picked out my own puppy, but he's my dog. He is my baby, just like Belle was. I adore him. He does his job perfectly, and the only reason I say he's not the dog I would have picked out, like myself, is simply because he is from a backyard breeder. Other than that, he's absolutely perfect. He is everything I was looking for in my second dog. Honestly, I think me and him have like a better bond, and just like he has better alerts and everything than Belle. Like we're more synced, I guess I should say. Belle was an amazing service dog also. She is still an amazing dog, and she does still alert. I just know, like, the end of her career, she started having a lot of times where she, like, would miss alerts or, like, wasn't in the mood to do them. And I think that had a lot to do with just her joints hurting and everything else, and me not knowing, because, I mean, like, she's a dog, and with her, whenever, like, I know she's showing signs that she's sick or she hurts or anything like that, then I know it's a case of it's bad. She never really, like, shows or when it's nothing, you know, like, whenever it's, like, a little bit of pain or anything like that, she's just doesn't show it. So, yeah. That's all I can think of, I guess. If there's any more questions you have on, like, me and Aries' journey, then let me know, and, like, comment down below or message me, and I'll answer, like, if you comment. So, yeah, that's all I have for today. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sorry this video is, like, kind of all over the place, and I'm really sorry about the lighting. It's, like, raining outside, it's late, and the lighting in my room keeps changing. And I don't quite know why. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this kind of like sit down story time introduction video thing. I'll figure out what to call it eventually. Um, so yeah, if you guys have any video requests, please leave them down below. I'm like running out of videos on my list of planned videos, and I really need more ideas. So yeah, I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope it was, it's good to answer any questions anybody has. And yeah, alright. So that's all I have. Hope you guys enjoyed, and bye. Thank you for watching.